Hello, my sweet babies. How are you all doing? I'm doing really well too. I'm going to tell you today about a little boy named Brock. He lived out on a ranch in the West, and his family raised horses and trained horses. And Brock loved horses so much. His dad went all over the world and brought horses back to their ranch, and some of them were trainable, some of them were trouble horses, and his dad was just really good at training horses, and usually he could restore them and back to even better than they were when they came, and then send them out to other people. And Brock wanted to be just like his dad. He wanted to be able to train horses. And so from the time he was little, he would follow his dad around, and his dad started teaching him little things about training horses, just like his dad had learned from his dad, Brock's grandpa. And so Brock was eating breakfast one day, and his dad came in and he said, "Hey, we've got 10 horses coming in today." And Brock goes, "Yay!" He goes, "Can I see him?" And his dad said, "Well, you can go down, but just stand by the fence until I can see if you can be around them or not." And so Brock was there when the big truck came, and they started bringing out the horses, and there was gray horses, and there was some dappled horses and some brown horses. But then this one horse caught his eye. It was beautiful. When they brought it off the truck, he kind of flipped his head around, and he was black, and he shined in the sunshine, and he had 4 white stockings that were just beautiful, and he was such a beautiful horse. And Brock just couldn't hardly breathe. He was so excited about the horse. And his dad came over, and he watched the horse, and they let him go in the corral, and the horse ran around and kicked his feet up and took off running back and forth and back and forth. His movement was beautiful. He was so beautiful. And then Brock's dad came over next to him, and Brock goes, "Dad, I think that's the most beautiful horse I've ever seen. What's his name?" And his dad said, "His name is Poco Loco." And Brock goes, "Can I ride him? Can I train him? Can I help with him?" And his dad just shook his head. He said, "No." He said, this horse has caused a lot of trouble for a lot of people, and some people have been hurt by him. And we want to make sure that it's safe before we try to. We don't even know if he's trainable. So we want to make sure that everything's safe before you're around him. So do you promise me you will just not go in the pen with him and just stay away from him until I'm sure everything's okay?" Brock that made him so sad inside, but he said, "Okay, Dad, I'll do what you said." And so Brock went back to the house. But inside, he was just like, "Man, I like that horse. But I love my dad, and my dad said stay away, so I'm going to stay away." So for the first week, Brock didn't even go and look at the horses. He just stayed away from the barn because he knew he could feel that draw towards Poco Loco, and he wanted to get in there and fool with him. But his dad had said no. And so he asked his dad again at the end of the week. He goes, "Dad, are things better with Poco Loco?" And his dad goes, "No, not yet." He said, "In fact, a couple of the guys that were working with him, the horse hurt him." And he said, "And we're not for sure if we're going to even keep him. So I want you to stay away from him. Okay?" And Brock looked at him and goes, "Okay, Dad, I'll do what you said." But each day, Brock started thinking more of the horse than of what his dad said. And he thought, maybe I could train the horse. I'm just going to go see. And so one night when his mom and dad took a drive, he went and got an apple out of the kitchen, and he snuck down to the barn. And inside he knew he shouldn't do this. This is probably not a good idea. But he thought, I'll just go once, and I'll just see if Dad's right. And so he went up, and he didn't go in the pen with Poco Loco. He did obey his dad with that. But Poco Loco saw him and came up to the fence and stuck his head through. And Brock held out the apple in his hand and set it out. And Poco Loco very gently ate the apple. Wow, that made Brock so happy. He was so happy. He thought, maybe Dad is something right. So he went back to the house. And so then he thought, no, I really need to obey what my dad said. But each day, what happened is when it would get nighttime, he would sneak down to the kitchen and he would get some apples and carrots. And he would sneak down to the barn and he would go, just one more time. I'm just going to do this. And each time he went down there, Poco Loco kept acting more and more like he liked him. And Poco Loco was very nice to him. And so what happened was Brock started thinking that his dad was wrong and that he was the one who could train Poco Loco to be a good horse. But along the way, his dad would say to him off and on, now, you're staying away from Poco Loco, aren't you? Because Poco Loco had still hurt some people. And Brock started lying. He said, yeah, Dad, I'm doing what you said. And so even though he was saying that to his dad, inside he was saying, I'm going to train that horse and I'm going to show Dad that I can go on trips with him and that I could help him and that I could be just as good a trainer as he can. So Poco Loco kept going down every day, and then he started getting in the pen with the horse. And Poco Loco was very nice to him. And so Brock started, working on putting a saddle on him and brushing him and all that. And so Brock decided that in 2 days, he would ride Poco Loco and he would show his dad that he was the best trainer ever. So he just got so excited and so excited. So Brock told his dad, he said, Dad, I have a surprise for you and I'm going to give it to you in 2 days. And Brock's dad said, you know what, Brock? I have a surprise for you and I'm going to give it to you in 2 days. So we'll do it together, okay? So for the next 2 days, Brock kept working with Poco Loco, and then it came the day, and Brock said to his dad, Dad, I want you to come out on the porch in 15 minutes, and I'm going to give you my surprise. And his dad said, okay, Brock. He said, in 15 minutes, I'll give you your surprise. So Brock sneaked down to the barn, jumped in, saddled up Poco Loco, and led him out of the stall. And Poco Loco was being very gentle and following him very nicely. And then Brock thought, I'm going for it. And he jumped up on his back and he started leading Poco Loco out of the barn, out into the open. Now, Poco Loco was walking really nicely, but Brock did notice that his ears were pinned all the way back. That's not a really good sign. So he just kept going, and then he headed towards the porch. And when he got over there, he saw his dad come out, and just then, Poco Loco jumped and twisted around and took off running. And Brock wasn't ready for that. And he flew off the top of Poco Loco and bam, hit the ground. And then he was blacked out. When Brock came to, he was in the hospital and he could barely open his eyes. And he was looking up. He saw his mom and dad and he goes, am I hurt? And his dad goes, yeah, Brock, you're hurt pretty bad. You broke both of your arms. Your whole face is like, he said, you have a concussion and your eyes are almost swollen shut. He said, you bruised your ribs. And he said, you're not going to be getting around very much for quite a while. And Brock said, Dad, I am so sorry. I disobeyed you. I shouldn't have done that. And his dad shook his head and he goes, yeah, son, he goes, you're right. He said, now I'm going to tell you what my surprise was going to be. He said, I was going to let you start traveling around with me to help pick out horses and giving you more chance to train horses. But what you showed me through this was that you couldn't listen to what I said and you didn't obey. And so it's going to be a long time before I ever take you again. So he said, you're going to have to build your trust up again. And Brock sat in the bed and he was so sorry, but he learned a big lesson in his life. Do you know what he learned? He learned that God gave him his mom and dad, and that they're smarter than he is because he's still growing and they're just trying to train him. And he learned that when you start disobeying them, then sometimes you start telling lies. And then that just keeps getting worse and worse, and you tell more lies and more lies. So my lesson to you is this. Your mom and dad might tell you things sometimes that they think, that in your mind you think, no, they couldn't be right. Just trust them. Just trust them. God gave you really good parents that love you so much. And don't lie to them. It's better to tell the truth and face the consequences than to tell lies. Lies just get worse and worse until you can't even remember what the truth is. So that's my story for you today. And also, I want you to remember, just like I tell you every time, that if you need somebody to talk to, Jesus is always there to listen and to give you an answer because he loves you so much. And I love you too. Let's have a big hug. Ready? I love you. Bye.